Let's talk about recording your online course. Actually, how you do the recording of it. So there are lots of issues around this. There's issues of things like, how do I format it? What tools do I use to do it? How do I design the whole program so that it works? But I am actually talking here just about this one thing, and that is, how do I actually carve out time to record? And more importantly, how do I actually get it on tape? Virtually, digitally, okay? All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to teach you the system that I have used over and over again to create some amazing courses. This system works incredibly easy, and it's designed to be used by normal human beings to do amazing things. And I'm also going to show you a variation that gives you another alternative if you're struggling to actually get your course recorded. Because there are a lot of people out there who have a great course idea and just simply can't get it into recording. And so I'm going to show you this system. So let's start with number one, use the simplest format. So there are a lot of people who say, should I do this live, talking to camera? Should I have a whiteboard behind me? Should I have a pad behind me? What should I do? How should I do this whole recording thing? Should I have two cameras? Should I have a teleprompter? How should I do all this thing? My suggestion is let's do it the simplest way, because very often those other things are great when you're selling and marketing your course, but they actually add very little to the value of your course, and in many cases actually hurt your course's value because they hurt the learning capabilities of your people. So my recommendation is to use the simplest, easiest format that has been proven over and over again for years to work. That is, create your course in PowerPoint, Keynote, or Google Slides. That's it. Just create it in that. Oh, but Don, what about this death by PowerPoint stuff? Well, you know what? Death by PowerPoint is true if you're boring. But if you're not boring and that scene is constantly changing, then it's actually proven to do better than just a talking head. So advantages here. Speed of creation. This is the easiest, fastest way to get something created. And improved learning, because it is not relying on people just to watch you, but they're seeing words come up on the screen. So if they're taking notes, they can just take notes of those words. And you can also give them copies of the slides. So they don't even have to take notes on what you actually said, just what it means to them. So now there is one other option in this that sort of takes that other piece of, but wait a minute, won't my face help to teach them? Yes. And that option is to add a circle with you in it. So you've all seen them, like a Loom video where you're seeing here's the presentation, and down in the corner, there's this circle with you talking. That is very, very easy to do with either Loom, but you're going to want to pay extra for high def. So high def, they say high definition up to 4K. You want to pay for that. You can't do this with the free plan. Or Camtasia, either one. Personally, I recommend and I use Camtasia for everything. I bought Camtasia for, I can't tell you, probably 12 years of the annual thing on Camtasia. I just buy it as soon as it comes out. It's totally worth it. All right. So now that you've chosen, you've decided, I'm just going to do it the simplest, easiest way. Now schedule 2 time blocks for each module. Now, I'm assuming that you're creating a course that's got multiple modules. Each module maybe is going to take a week, and that week is going to have a series of short videos in it, maybe 8 to 10 videos in that module. Okay, so that's the assumption that I'm making. So for each module, probably each week in your course, schedule 2 time blocks sequentially. The first one is creation time. This is when we actually create the slides that we are going to record from to give that particular video within the module. So now, this also assumes that you know what you're going to say, how you're going to format it, okay? So if you actually need to go figure out and need to do some research, you then may need to block some more time out prior to that time to go figure all that stuff out. And you know, I outline actually in PowerPoint. So I don't create an outline. I create my PowerPoint presentation, and if I need to move a point, I just move a slide. And so that's how I go about doing that. I know there are other people who write out their script word for word. I think that's a total waste of time. Other people write out a whole outline, then turn that into their PowerPoint. You got to do what works for your brain. I will tell you, you will save a ton of hours if you'll learn to just outline it in PowerPoint in the very beginning. Okay, so again, it's like, I'm assuming this is 8 to 10 videos, maybe 5 to 10 minutes each. If that's the case, then I budget 4 hours to do this. Now, I've been doing this for a lot of years, so you may want to budget 8 hours or 6 hours or something like that to do that. But I find that in 4 hours, when I know my stuff, I can turn out 8 to 10 short 5 to 10 minute video slide presentations. What I budget is 1 slide per 60 seconds of content. So if I'm doing a 10 minute, it's going to be 10 to 12-ish slides in that. And then I have animations in that. So it puts this point up, then puts this point up, then that puts that point up. So that 1 minute may actually have 5 bullet points that happen in it. So the slide is actually changing, meaning what they see on their screen, every 8 to 10 seconds as the next point comes up. So the goal is at the end of this time, you've got all your presentations ready to record. So all of your content is in there, your images are in there, your animations are all in there, and so that they're all done and you're ready to come back the next morning and record. All right, that's the goal of that session. I like to do this the day before I do this second block, which is the recording block. Why? Because that enables me to be fresh and remember. When I do it a week or 2 weeks before, then I got to go back and remember what I was thinking when I put this slide to come after that slide. All right. So the second block of time, so you block the first block, which is your creation time. That's when you're creating the slides. And then I like to actually have it be the next day. That is recording time when you're actually recording your presentation. I usually budget 4 to 8 hours for that same block of videos. Takes me a little bit longer to actually record than to create them. The goal is at the end of this, I have all the videos recorded, yes, and edited, and encoded or rendered, depending on what your software calls it. All right, now, and at the end of that block, all of the video creation work for this particular module is done. Congratulations, that's way cool. And as I said, I like to do them back to back. So here's how I do it. I block out Thursday as recording time. So nothing happens on Thursday, no other meetings, no emails. I'm not even going to look at anything on Thursday. I'm going to come in, I'm going to sit down at my desk, and I'm going to start recording. And so the Wednesday, I take the afternoon before and I do creation of all those. And then I come in on Thursday and I record. Now, I budget 8 hours. I usually get them done in 4 to 6 hours, somewhere in there. So why do I do these back to back? Because it keeps things fresh on my mind. I oftentimes am going from this slide to the next, and there's a logical sequence going through there. And when I wait 4 or 5 days, I oftentimes will forget that logical sequence. And it's like, why is this slide here? I can't remember. That's why I do them back to back. All right, so now let's talk about the actual recording methodology, how you step-by-step record. I'm trying to give you a value here, okay? So how you go through this process of recording. So for each video, here's how I do it. Number one, I review the presentation. I actually put it up. So what I do is in front of me, I have the speaker notes, which I don't really use speaker notes. What I use is the vision of the slide so I can see what slide's coming up next or what animations are coming up next. So that sits in front of me. Then over here, I have another monitor. That's my recording monitor, okay? So it used to be that was a 1080p screen. It's now a 4K screen. So I actually record now in full 4K video. All right. So what I do is I start by opening up the PowerPoint or the Google Slides in my case. And what I do is I put the preview speaker notes view, whatever that is, right in front of me. And then over there is my actual presentation. It's going to record from there. And then I click through the whole presentation, one page, one animation at a time. What I'm doing here as I click through it, I'm trying to get it all in my brain so that so my brain already knows this flow that I was talking about. So I know what I was going to say. And then the second thing is I'm double checking, making sure all the animations are correct. I proofread, I make sure that the images are correct, all those things. Then the second thing I do, once I get done with that, and as I go through it also, I ask several key questions. The first one is, am I clear in this? Did I explain everything the very best way possible? Then I ask, what could be added? And when I'm doing that, I'm not trying to make it longer. What I'm asking myself is there a story or an example or maybe a parable or an analogy that I could use that helps people to understand this better? Okay, so what could be added? Because oftentimes in the creation part, I'm just thinking logically, boom, here's the stuff. So sometimes I need to put an emotional piece in by thinking of the story. And so after I've reviewed it slide by slide, I then ask, is it clear? Should I be adding a story to this to help to cement what I'm trying to do? Then the opposite of that, I ask, what should be cut? Because oftentimes when I'm going through the logical thing, I just get too detailed. And so I'll oftentimes cut 4 to 5, at least bullet points, if not whole slides, out of a typical presentation. And then if my presentation got to be 15 to 20 slides long, I ask myself, should this be 2 videos instead of 1? Most people cannot concentrate for more than about 8 to 10 minutes on a given subject. TV has trained us to do that. And so it's better to have 2 10-minute videos than 1 20-minute video. And oftentimes it's really easy as you go through that to say, oh man, I just totally changed subjects here in the middle. That should be another video. And so I add that. I have this tracking process spreadsheet where I track all my videos and I just say, okay, add new line, break this into a second one, and I just go into the PowerPoint slide, break it into another slide. It's really easy to do. Put a new title slide on it and off you go. So if the answer to any of those is yes, then I fix it right then and there. And so this is why sometimes it takes me longer to record than it did to create it in the first place, because I'm actually doing a little bit of creation in the process. All this has happened. I haven't hit record yet. I'm just making sure that this video that I put together the night before still makes sense the next day. All right. Then number 3, turn on my screen capture program and record. Okay. All right. This is where it gets really fun. You just turn it on with enthusiasm. You come on and you start recording. Now, as I said, my favorite program is Camtasia. I've used it forever. Loom has got some interesting things that they're doing. Make sure you pay extra for the high def. Okay. Now, number 4, when you make a mistake. Notice I didn't say if you make a mistake. When you make a mistake, here's what you do. First, don't stress. It's okay. Everybody does it. There's a reason why they do 10 takes of all the scenes in a movie, because they want to get the very best one, and somebody's going to make a mistake. They're going to forget a line. They're going to fumble. They're going to do whatever. So when you make a mistake, don't stress. Just stop, pause for about 5 to 10 seconds. And I use this to get my breath, to calm down, to not criticize myself for making a mistake. Then I clap twice by the mic, like this. My microphone is literally right here, okay? So right in front of the mic, I go, all right. And then I pause again for another 10 seconds. What this does is, when you look at a video, at the audio portion of a video recording, when you are editing, you've got me talking, and then you'll see a flat line. And then all of a sudden, boom, boom, two big spikes that are much bigger than the spikes that are happening out here. And then I see another flat line. That's that second pause. And then here's me talking again. So all I have to do when I get to the editing is I open it up. And first off, since I'm editing immediately after recording, which I'll tell you about in just a minute, I know I made one mistake, or I made two mistakes, or I made three mistakes. By the way, if I make more than three mistakes, I usually throw that take away and just start over again. Okay, it just makes it easier. And you'll get good at this. Your first time you do this, you're gonna make 10 mistakes. Your 14th time you're doing it, you're gonna make one mistake or two mistakes. And just keep going, and you'll get better and better as you go along. So all you have to do is just open it up and look for that pattern right there. That pattern tells you there's a mistake there that needs to get fixed. So after I make a mistake, pause, clap, pause, start over again. I start over again by jumping back a little bit to a logical point. Oftentimes it's the first bullet point on this slide. And so I do that. And so then what I do when I'm editing is, okay, when I'm done recording, I simply hit end, and I immediately bring up the editing program and I immediately edit it. Why? Because it's fresh on my mind and I can just get it out of my mind. I don't have to ever worry about that module again. Ever, because I'll be done with it immediately afterwards. So here's how I edit. Now, a lot of people get really stressed about editing. I hate editing. It's the hardest thing in all of video. No, it's not. Not this kind of editing. Yeah, it is when you're doing live video, but this kind of editing, I mean, you got a PowerPoint presentation and maybe your face is in the corner. That's it. This is not a hard edit. So I start by cutting the beginning, because I always have this 5-10 seconds at the beginning where I'm getting a drink, or I'm pausing, or I'm figuring out what I'm doing or whatever. So I have to cut the first 5 to 10 seconds. I have to cut the ending. So right at the end, oftentimes it takes me a second or two to get down to turn off the video. Okay, I cut there. And then I look for that double clap pattern. Flat, flat. And then I go fix them. So when I see that double clap pattern, it's like something happened. And then I just listen to what's happening right after that. And then I just scroll back to find out where did I jump back to. Cut between those two, it moves it forward, and it's a nice clean cut, and it just rolls right out. You can literally edit a 10-minute video. Let's say you've got 2 mistakes in it. Cut the beginning, cut the end, cut those 2 mistakes. You can literally edit that video in probably 3 to 5 minutes total. Total, you're done. So look for the double claps, fix them, and you're done. You do not watch the whole video. In other words, while you're recording your video, if something happens that you're going to need to edit, you solve it right then by double clapping. That way you never watch your whole video. Watching your whole video takes more time, because as soon as you do that, you say, oh, I said right there, I need to fix that. No, you don't. People speak normally. Now, if you speak with lots of uhs, you're going to want to work on solving that problem in your own life. But it's something that normal people do, and it's usually acceptable in your videos. If you find you do it a ton, you may want to edit with a program called Descript that automatically takes it out. All right. And I have a video about Descript in this same series. All right. 6th step. You then render or encode your video. So what you're doing, whichever one it's called, encoding, rendering, whatever. Basically, I see 2 options. I have 2 different options that I use in this process. The first one is I take that file and I move it to a second computer. So I'm working in front of my laptop with my 2 screens here, and my desktop, because I like to record on a desktop, tends to be higher quality. Over here sits my laptop. And so what I do is, as soon as I finish that file, I simply take that file and I dump it onto my laptop. I open it up and I click encode. And it's encoding while I am recording the next one. And so by the time I've gone through the file and done all the steps on that file that I told you about, ask those questions. Is it, should it be 2 videos? Is there something I should add, something I should cut? By the time I'm done with that, this video over here has stopped encoding. And so I'm just moving through the process, and each one of them encodes as I go along. But you need 2 computers to do that. And most people, that's not practical for them. And so number 2, hey, Camtasia allows you now to put the encoding into a queue for that night or the end of your day. So all you do is you say, okay, I want you to encode this later on when I tell you to do it. By the way, the word queue is the most interesting word. It's the letter Q and 5 silent letters that follow that. I think that's just such a fascinating word. Okay, so you just put it in the encoding queue for that night. And so that night when you go to bed, your computer goes, I got some work to do. And it goes off and encodes all the work you did that day. You come in the morning, it's like, cool, all my files are done. The entire module is done. Okay. And all you do, so what I just did is I took you through the whole process for one video. Now we just repeat that same process for each video. You open up the file, you click through it, you make sure everything's okay, you ask those questions, you fix it if it has to be, you turn on record, you record the whole thing, you double clap if you make a mistake, you edit by going and carving out the beginning, carve out the end, and go and fix your double claps, and then you encode. That's it. You just do that for each one, and congratulations, you're done. You can literally record an entire module, 8 to 10 videos in 4 to 8 hours. I know, I've done it over and over again. Now, the first time you're going to do it, it's probably going to take you 2 days. That's okay. You'll get good really fast doing this. So my recommendation, let's talk about how you actually create your course. My recommendation is you go through this process and do 1 module a week. That means if you got an 8-module course, you'll be done with it in 2 months, recording every one of the modules as you go along. Or if you're in a hurry or you really want to get this thing done, record 2 modules in a week. When I've done that, I usually do Monday and Tuesday. Monday is the creation day, Tuesday is the recording day. And then I take a day in between to actually do the stuff that's got to keep the business running. And then Thursday and Friday, and usually, as I said, I'm usually finishing recording in 5 to 6 hours. And so that gives me Friday, close of the day, to finish any other business that's got to happen in the business, okay? That way you can get 2 modules done in a week. All right, so if you do that, you get your entire course done in X number of weeks, whatever number of modules you've got. Now, there is a variation to this, and that is take X days off and just get it done. So here's the thing. This is especially valuable if you've been saying, I'm going to record this course and I'm going to get it done, and you've been 3 months and you still haven't actually gotten it done. Well, in that case, I suggest that you carve out time and you make it happen. So you do this all the time. You carve out time to go to a conference, to a convention, to go through to a learning experience, whatever. You carve out time to go on vacation. Why not carve out time to create your future and go do it? Now, I strongly recommend you do this alone, not with your family. Family's distraction. Don't do this in Anaheim. You could potentially do it in Anaheim as long as your kids walk out the door at 8 o'clock and they come home at 8 o'clock and leave you all alone in that hotel during that period of time. And then you can be with your kids in the evening. But I don't recommend doing this on a family vacation, because if you do, you're going to vacate with your family. You're not going to get anything done. I will tell you, I know this from experience because I've literally done this numerous times. I've done this in a cabin up north. Hey, this is Wisconsin. Up north is where cabins live. I've done it in a hotel room in Dallas, Texas, in Phoenix, Arizona. I've done it in an Airbnb. I've done it 3 times now on a cruise ship. Yes, I go on a cruise. I stay on the boat all day long. I get a nice breakfast. I work for 3 hours. I do a nice lunch. I work for 2 hours. I take a nap. I work for two more hours, and then I play the evening away. And I get really good food. And everyone else goes on shore and gets sunburned and buys a bunch of useless stuff that their kids are gonna throw away when they die. And I stay on the cruise ship and I work like crazy, and I get a whole course done in a week. Or, hey, here's another option. Everything's here. It's all set up. It's all perfect. All right. Send everyone else away in your family. Do it at home. Send them away for 7-10 days, and you, instead of going on a cruise or going to Dallas and working in a hotel room, you just do it in your house, send them away. Well, you got to be disciplined if you're going to do that, but you can. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is how you create an amazing course. All we're talking about here is the creation and the recording. There's still, building out the portal and marketing it and those other things. But the building of the course is the thing that holds so many people back. I just solved that for you. I just taught you a system that's easy and quick, creates an amazing course that you can do with very little effort. Why not to just start this week? Will you do that? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. This is Don Crowther saying, just go do this stuff.